Great skills again by him. Oh, marvellous goal by Lewis.
Welcome to the Rangers Journey.
Yes, it is Monday. It is 6:30 p.m. and you are live with the Rangers Journal, where tonight we'll be looking back at Rangers, who gained a vital 3 points against Aberdeen, who under new boss Stephen Robinson folded like a deck chair. If this weekend's proved anything, it's that maybe Glasgow is blue, Aberdeen's broken, and maybe that mob's bottle has broke. I've actually wrote down burst. That doesn't make any sense, does it? But there we go. Let's get into it. So tonight we are joined by two of the Rangers Journal's finest. First of all, Craig, how you doing, mate?
I'm good. I was just saying you'll need to excuse the green background. I'm coming from you live at Edinburgh Napier University, so I'll have a go at whoever decided on the wall colour.
Lies, you're in Celtic Park at the minute. We know what you're doing, Craig. We know what you're doing. Nah, it's all good, pal. It's all good. Good to have you on, mate. And next, last but not least, Ryan, looking very swish in his Team GB top. Gareth Bale special, that one, wasn't it, mate? How you doing?
Yes, mate. I picked this up at the football shop emporium, or football shirt emporium in Hamilton. Very much worth a visit if you're into your vintage football shirts. So I picked this one up for all of £45. I actually do already have a Team GB shirt, but given the fact it was 14 years ago, it's a medium, and let's just say it's no longer use to me at the moment. So.
It's all good, mate. It happens to us all, and that's would that be our friend of the pod, Stuart Shop? Would it be?
Yeah, I think Stuart's very much involved with them. He looks after the Clydebank side of things. So, but no, I was in the Hamilton. I was in head office yesterday, so I had a right good look around. I left plenty behind me, so if anyone's looking for a wee bit of Rangers memorabilia, what have you, there's plenty there to be had.
I guarantee I'd be rinsing the credit card if I go into the Clydebank or Hamilton one. I really will. I do love a vintage football shirt, as we can see here. There we go. Right, so don't forget, guys, tonight's pod is proudly sponsored by the good guys over at the Bluebells Bar, Puerto del Carmen in glorious Lanzarote. I bet they had a fantastic day yesterday. When you're over in the sunny Spanish Canary Islands, you'll find a warm welcome at the only Rangers bar in Puerto del Carmen. Family-friendly, eat, drink, chill, or party. And yes, they show every Rangers game live, so there's nothing better than watching the Bears in the scorching heat. So when in Lanzarote, do pop in and say hi, and you might see the Rangers Journal on the screens there as well. And don't forget, guys, we have an Etsy store, so have a little scan of the barcode in the top left-hand corner. You'll see the Ranger merch. There's some fantastic stuff designed by some of it has been designed by Ross, the good man here at the pod, and he's got a good eye for detail. Some very good bits there, so do have a look at that. So obviously we had our game at the weird kind of Premier Sports kickoff time on the Saturday evening, it was one of those that you think, oh, could this be a potential banana skin under new boss Stephen Robinson? So let's have a little look. This was the match report. So we set up with Jack Butland in goal, James Tavernier back in at right back and back as captain, followed by Nasser Dija, Fernandez, Romans. Then in front of the back four, we had Raskin and Chukwani. And of course, we had the surprise inclusion, some might say, of Theo Asgard out on the right, Mikey Moore out on the left, and we had that strike partnership of Ryan Nadiri and Yusuf Chermiti. So let's have a look at a few of the stats. We'll break the game down very shortly. We will have a look at some of the kind of key things going on there. So obviously, look at possession. I would say fairly dominant, 62% for Rangers. The interesting key things that we're seeing quite a lot from Rangers at the minute: total shots, 18 shots to Aberdeen's 6. We had 7 shots on target to Aberdeen's 1. So, especially this part of the year, we definitely are creating more chances which is good to see. Big chances, 3 created for Rangers and 2 created for Aberdeen. Big chances missed, 2 for Rangers and 1 for Aberdeen. And then you got the other stats: passing accuracy, corners, tackles, and so forth. So I'll come to you first, Craig. Is there anything you can see from the stats there that maybe surprises you, or is there anything there that you look at and you go, you know what, that was expected, by the way we've been playing lately?
Well, the result was expected. I don't think anyone really seen anything other than a Rangers win at Ibrox against this Aberdeen team. I think the big thing is that you had 7 shots on target and scored 4 goals. I think when the majority of your shots on target end up being goals, I think it's a sign that you're doing something well, because a shot on target can be straight down the neck of the goalkeeper, but to have so many shots, go in once you've got them in between the posts, I think is a really, really good sign.
I do agree, because you look back at that Old Firm Cup game, and you looked at the kind of domination we had with the stats, but we didn't really create many real gilt-edged chances, did we, Ryan? There was a lot of kind of tame shots. And we never really made the keeper work in that. So sometimes the stats can be not manipulative. That's the wrong word to use, but it doesn't always tell the full picture that the eye test does. Was there anything that surprises you there, Ryan, at all, that you thought maybe was a bit of a surprise, or is that all pretty expected from what you saw at the game?
Yeah, pretty much, mate. I felt as if the game was. I think we controlled the majority of the game. I felt as if we had the bulk of possession. I wasn't worried at any point really with Aberdeen. I think anything that kind of came their way, Jiga and Fernandez seemed to sweep everything up pretty comfortably. With the exception of the goal, which I would actually give credit to Aberdeen for their goal. I thought they actually took their goal pretty well. They've jumped on the mistake. They've had a couple of quick passes and the boys finished it pretty well into the bottom corner. So sometimes you just got to put your hands up, and that's sometimes how your opposition scores against you. You make a mistake and it goes. I think for me the biggest takeaway from the game is the fact that we've scored 4 goals. My thing really was that I wanted us to go and put a marker down. Obviously, it's a shame that we did lose that goal, but we're doing really now is putting pressure on the teams around us. Hearts and Celtic. Celtic buckled under the first bit of pressure they were put under yesterday, but we've given ourselves a right good opportunity now with the help of the goal difference that, when we play Dundee United in a couple of weeks' time, we win the game, hopefully win the game comfortably again, but we're going to go top of the league, which is going to start putting all the pressure back onto Hearts again, and we'll find out what they're really made out of. So we've got to take the opportunity to help the goal difference when we can, and for me that was the biggest thing about it. I did expect that, obviously a scrappy 1-0 game, a 2-1 game, whatever it was going to be, you'd expect Aberdeen to come out like their kids were tied up and make it like their World Cup final. So to actually beat them as comfortably is what we've done. That for me, regardless of all the statistics and everything else taken away, that for me is the biggest thing of the game.
Yeah, I totally agree. And there's something I'll touch on in a little bit, Ryan, that you said last week that we will revisit. So we'll come up to that in a little bit. Craig, with the team sheet there, was there any surprises for you there? Or was that kind of pretty much the team you were expecting when you saw the team sheet on Saturday evening?
Well, the one that obviously stands out is Asgard. I don't think anyone expected him to start, but I actually didn't think he was too bad. He kind of played that second 10. Skov Olsen hasn't really been doing it for us in that position, or not enough. He has little moments, but really he's not been doing enough. So Asgard got his chance. I didn't think he was too bad. He did end up coming off. I think it was 63 minutes or something. Ant-Man came on, and Ant-Man done pretty well as well. But everything else, I mean, you could question Giga and Suter, but you look at Giga's performances and Suter's performances recently. Giga's clearly the man for the job just now. But I think the rest of the team just about picks itself. Mikey Moore, I think, very well-deserved man of the match. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. I'm not surprised he's got a 10 rating here. The 2 strikers, I mean, I want my strikers to score, and the 2 guys aren't scoring. I really don't think he fancies Miovski. I think that's why he can't get a game or gets very little time. So I suppose it's the best you've got. You're playing. But I would like my strikers to be scoring more goals, but it is what it is.
Yeah, we'll look at that a little bit as well, because could that be a problem that comes back to haunt us in the latter end of this season? No, I definitely do agree. Ryan, obviously, Craig touched on Mikey Moore there. That lad is a phenomenal footballer, isn't he? He just doesn't stop. He's just like a bulldog chasing a ball, isn't he? He is just everywhere on that park, and players just really struggle to defend against him, don't they?
Yeah, and at 18 years of age, he's playing very maturely. You actually look at the recoveries that he's making as well. You would actually expect young guys that's probably the element of the game they work on, that they're only thinking about going forward and attacking. So his work rate move going back the way and helping his, the Romans and whoever's playing behind him at the time is, a testament to his training. He's been coached in the right way. He's been brought up through a decent academy. My worry is that we're just not going to keep him, and we need to start coming to terms with that. There's a very strong possibility that Spurs are going to get relegated. They'll look to offload all their high earners and all their kind of top players that are there just now who are underperforming, and they'll be looking towards guys like Mikey Moore in the Championship to try and bring them straight back up again. And the old saying goes, it's don't fall in love with a lone player. It's too late for that, mate.
That's it. I know. Do you know what, though? There's still obviously a lot to be decided. Obviously, Spurs, they are in a bit of a free fall at the minute. It's mad to think that even weeks ago, people looked at Spurs and went, they're getting relegated, because you could see by the way they're playing, they really are in a bad way at the minute. West Ham have picked up considerably, and they're playing actually some quite good football. And they've started scoring goals again, which is important. So it does seem that they will flip over in the table, and of course it wasn't a good result for Spurs at the weekend there, but there is that carrot. Obviously if we win the league, there is that potential of Champions League football. Maybe they might think, what, his value could increase if he's playing in the Champions League. I know it's if, what's, buts and maybes. There's a lot of things that have to fall into place for that, and it'll be interesting to see. One of those. I've noticed before we get into the game, Curry's giving it to me tight in the comments. Basically, he's put, "Evening lads, what's the crack, Andrew?" So right, let's clear this up now. So basically, I did an interview with Jermaine Defoe for Midnight, the betting company. It was Defend Your Career, so they got different fans of different clubs that Jermaine played for, and we got to interview him and ask him questions. And just at the end of my interview, which I thought went quite well, I get up, and as I get up, just on captured in 4K was my crack, basically, because God did not bless me with a backside. I am like a stick with a belly, and so belts don't work on me, nothing works. And my crack, the whole, as the Water Boys once said, you saw the whole of the moon. Well, you get to see it in 4K on YouTube if you do. If that is your sort of thing. I might even start an OnlyFans, but that might be terrible. But there we go. Right, so let's just get that one out the way. There we go. There we go. Look, I'm getting it tight now. Getting it tight from Andrew as well. Look at this. Right, guys. So let's get into the game. So obviously we looked over the team sheet there. Let's have a look at Aberdeen's team sheet. So they went with a 3-5-2 under their new manager, Stephen Robinson. So I think they were looking to kind of suppress any sort of attacking with the midfield being, having five kind of in there. They went with Milne, Morrison and Malloy in the back three. They went Lobin, Geiger, Amaru, Palsavera and Gamafi in that kind of midfield five, and Bililovic and Nisbet the kind of two up top. So kind of didn't really know what to expect really from Aberdeen. They've not really had a good time, but they are under a new manager. Obviously, Stephen Robinson can make things very difficult for Rangers. Craig, did you kind of expect this to be, a game where Aberdeen have got that new manager bounce and maybe Robinson could get the best out of some of these players? Because we've seen it for years with St Mirren and other teams as well. How did you feel about Robinson going up there to Pittodrie?
I think in the long run it could be a good thing for them, but I thought this game came around a bit too early. Robinson's already trying to put his own sort of stamp on Aberdeen. That 3-5-2 is something he's used. He was at Motherwell for years with it. He's been fairly successful at St Mirren with it. I don't think he's got the players to execute it yet. That obviously will come. He'll probably have some sort of agreement with the Aberdeen board that he'll get X amount of money to go and build the team he wants. But I think this game just came far too early for them. They had a decent crack at Falkirk the week before up at Pittodrie, but I think this game was just too strong an opposition coming too early for them. So no, I didn't really expect much from them in terms of like a new manager bounce.
See, that's the thing, Ryan. It doesn't matter what Aberdeen's side is generally there and playing. They could be down towards the bottom of the table. They can be mid-table. You know you're going to get them turning into, prime Real Madrid with Zidane, and Beckham. They just seem to really relish playing against Rangers. Did you think they could kind of maybe put up a bit of a performance there on Saturday? Did you think, prior to, or were you just pretty consigned to the fact that they're not very good and they're not going to be able to do anything against Rangers?
There's no talisman in there, Andrew. When you're going through the names there, I'm just sitting, who? I've not really recognised anyone. Always Sanya, who used to play for St Mirren under Robinson, was the only one I kind of recognised there. But I don't think you mentioned Graham Shinney there, their captain. Players like Duke, Majowski going by, the boy Clarkson. These are guys that you'd be looking out for that would cause you problems there. There's nobody in there that would scare me at all with Aberdeen. So Robinson will have his time. I'm sure, like what Craig was saying there, he will be given money, though. He won't have left a right comfortable place at St Mirren where he's won the League Cup this season. I even think, are they still in the Scottish at this moment? Did they get through at the Scottish?
Oh, do you know what? I can't remember.
They're semi-final with Celtic.
Right, so he's walked away from that to go to Aberdeen. So he's going up there with some sort of assurances there. It wouldn't surprise me if he goes back to St Mirren and cherry picks a few of the players away. The boy, the goalkeeper, his name's coming out of my head there. He was at Livingston the season before, but the goalkeeper's pretty decent. Everyone knows Gogic. People have been telling us they should be signing Gogic. He'll probably go back for his captain, O'Hara. And he's got a model that he takes. He signs these guys. They're massive. They can run. They're fit. They're strong. He's going to go and take that up to Aberdeen, and then their fans will get behind it, and that's when we'll maybe start having difficulty. Pittodrie will be a place that you don't want to go, and these horrible Wednesday night games and Sunday morning games that they send us up to and stuff like that. So I've got no doubt that he'll bring Aberdeen back, and I think he's probably the right man for the job to do it. I just hope he does it with other teams in the league and not just ourselves there, because it's no coming away from that they do race their game when they play against us. I think there was a game just a few years ago where I think Liam Scales scored a cross for them and he claimed it was a goal, and you think they'd won the World Cup today that they beat us. So we'll wait and see what comes of it. But the actual team that was there in front of us at the weekend, there are no concerns over it at all.
Yeah, I do agree. There's always, no matter what year, what era, you used to have, what was their old captain, Russell Anderson, strong players like that, Xander Diamond back in the day, would always get a blooming goal against us in one way, shape or form. So yeah, no, I totally agree. So the game started, Craig. We were a little bit cautious at the start, and you think, is this going to be one of these kind of turgid, kind of games at Ibrox? But then we kind of noticed that Aberdeen weren't really pressing, weren't really doing anything. So we kind of grew into the game a little bit. We had a little bit of attacking. We saw an early handball shout. Asgard with a volley kind of from the edge of the box, cannoned off Paul Severa's arm. But his hands are clasped behind his back. No penalty, correct call there. So we won't really go into that one. That is a very open and shut one. There's no interpretation there. We did see an early Chimiti header from a corner. It was a huge chance missed then minutes later. Now, I noticed, Craig, we were using quite a few crossfield balls over the top. So I think because of that kind of stodgy midfield, we were kind of, Raskin was picking out some really good balls over the top. He picked out Chimiti perfectly, looked offside. He wasn't. He chests the ball and brings it down, bears down on goal, but the angle was just a little wide. He kind of caught it all wrong, gets the shot away. It's a poor attempt after, all that, and we hit the side netting, but we started to pick up a little bit from then. And then it was another great crossfield ball from Raskin. It was almost identical, actually, where we actually had the goal. So he picked out Romans out on the left, takes a great touch to take out the tracking defender, races into the box from the byline, lays it off to Moore, who does get a shot away. It's saved back out to Chukwani at the edge of the area, and he kind of on the volley just pulls the trigger, and it's 1-0. It's a great, well-worked team goal against Aberdeen's kind of flowed midfield. Them crossfield passes were really catching Aberdeen out, weren't they, Craig?
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think players, whether it was players or whether it was someone on the touchline had noticed it. It's one of those things where if you can notice a weakness in a team, you can go and exploit it. And obviously Aberdeen with the 5 in midfield, if you can bypass that midfield by playing longer balls, then that's how you get round them. Especially with three defenders, you're then once you've got your man isolated out wide, you're actually pulling a centre half out instead of just being up against a fullback. So it ends up creating a whole load of space in the middle, and it's just one of those things. Once you recognise what you're up against and how you can defeat it, then good things can come. The actual goal itself, as you say, Romans takes a good touch, gets the ball in, Moore gets his shot away, and it comes out to Shokwani. It's really easy for him to put his foot through it and kind of not really think about it, but he side foots it, picks his spot past the goalkeeper. I really enjoyed that finish because it's an easy one to get overexcited with as it's bouncing towards you, but he done it. He dealt with it very, very well.
He did indeed. Ryan, obviously we get towards the end of that half. There was another great attacking move. Raskin with a great pass to Asgard. Takes it on the turn, kind of opens up a bit of space in front of him. He threads it to Tav, who opens up, gets his shot away on target. It was a decent save by Mitov. As we got towards the end of the half, Aberdeen had 0 shots in that first half. Is that because Aberdeen were poor, or is that because we were solid, or is it a bit of both?
I think, Robinson's going to come and try and park the bus. He's going to come and try and make things stuffy and difficult. And, in years gone by, you would say, well, when we scored, they're going to have to come out. But it's not necessarily the case anymore because they're still quite happy to try and hold down a 1-0 loss and hope that they'll come out and try and get an equaliser at some point. It's normally when you actually see us score 2 goals that you actually see teams start to come out and play against us. But credit to Danny Rowe, he set us up, strongly. You actually seen Rangers when we were out of possession. Nico Raskin was coming in and more or less standing in beside Giga and Fernandes. So our formation actually when we were in possession was a 3-1-3-3. So he was getting Romans high, he was trying to get Tav high, hence the shot that came, hence the involvement for the goal from Romans for Chukwani. So we were doing our very best to get as much of the forward play as we possibly can. I do like Nico Raskin sitting in next to the centre half. So I don't know if it's necessarily his best position, but I think it's his most disciplined position. When he gets pushing further up the park, I think he's a wee bit of a tendency to be a headless chicken. He's running about too much. He's getting into areas of the park where he doesn't really need to get himself involved with. And if teams manage to get around him, gaps start to appear. Where if he's in there as that disciplined number 6, I think you do see the best out of his discipline. It's a tough one because you do know that he's got that kind of flair that he could possibly get forward into the box, and he's obviously come up with a goal for us later on the day without going too far ahead. But for me, if you want to kind of get the most out of him and the most assurance out of him, I think that's where you've got to see him as the ball carrier. And I think as well, it takes the risk out of Giga and Fernandes and their calamities that they've got a wee tendency to have as well. So you actually just got a water carrier just taking the ball off him.
Yeah, no, I noticed that too, actually, because Raskin seemed to be just sitting just in front of the defence. That's where he was spraying a lot of his passes from, which were really good pinpoint passes. We're starting to see a little rich vein of form, I think, from Raskin again, which is at the perfect time. Just staying with you, Ryan, let's talk about Two Romans. How good is it to see a left back that gets to the byline, cuts back and gets into the box? How long have we been crying out for that? And we're starting to actually see that it isn't just the odd time he's doing it week in, week out. How good is this?
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Two Romans, the early indication, I would like to caveat, the early indication of Two Romans is the best attacking fullback that we've had since Arthur Newman. He's sensational, absolutely sensational. And nothing... If you'd asked me a few weeks ago, I'd have told you that Jayden Bacoma has probably been our most consistent player all season. You look at other players that have had those kind of wee purple patches where they haven't done too well. I don't think there's anyone in the team that could shy away from that. But Jayden Bacoma has just been that solid 6, 7 out of 10 every single week. He's never really let us down, and he's been great. And I'd actually always to even go and sign Bacoma still, even if we had him as a debut for Romans. But Romans is different level, man. Absolutely different level. You see his goal involvement for Chukwani's first goal. You see his goal against St Mirren the week before. Pure and simple, Jayden Bacoma's not there. Jayden Bacoma wouldn't be there to get that, and he needs to develop that into his game if he wants to go to the next level. We need to enjoy this guy as long as we've got him, because he's going to come and get picked away from us. We've got to be realistic about our place in the food chain. He's going to come and get taken away to a larger French team, German team, and I'm saying larger teams that have got more money to spend because we're the biggest football club in the world. But we need to be realistic about our place in the food chain when it comes to the transfer market. He'll be away at some point. If we manage to get one more season out of him, I'd be really happy. But he's been a great find. Let's keep using these sources. Wherever we found him from, let's dig into that well again and find another one.
Yeah, I do agree, and Andrew does agree here as well. I'd certainly look at to renew Magoma's loan. I totally agree, because there are different games sometimes where you can offer something different. If there's going to be a game where you're going to be under the cosh a little bit more. I know Romans has got some good defensive ability as well, and actually is quite good in the air, good with duels and stuff. But some games you might just need that kind of Magoma type kind of player in there. It would be a good deputy. And you know what? If he's not going to be in the kind of frame at Brentford just yet, it might be good as an adequate backup for him to develop, while he does his while he's playing under 21s for England, because he will be a fairly decent Premier League player. It'll be one of those, won't it? But I totally agree. Craig, we get into the second half. Michael Stewart was being made to eat his words with goal number 2. Olusana, the sub, who Stewart saying is holding the ball up well, cursed the commentator. Then he loses the ball straight away in midfield. Again, some great work by Raskin to gain possession, then quickly release Nadiri, who drives forward, lays it off to Moore, who's running out on the left-hand side of the area in space, and Moore just doesn't rush, moves the ball onto his other foot, looks up, bends a shot in off the upright, 2-0. Can we just keep him, Craig? Can we just not send him back? Just, are they going to notice? Maybe not.
He was talking after the game, wasn't he, about potentially extending his stay. Obviously, it depends on the situation at Tottenham, and that's a wild situation right now. But I think that if he can keep him for another year, it'd be amazing. If you can sign him permanently, which is a big ask, I'm not sure that'll happen. But if you can sign him permanently, that would be unbelievable stuff. Michael Stewart. It's funny you mentioned Michael Stewart's commentary. He's too busy talking about Aberdeen's hold-up play, and Rangers are in the box. We did mention that today, actually. In university, we were talking about that in class today. That was quite funny. So it's not just fans that don't like him; other professionals don't like him either. The finish from Moore is good. The pass from Nadiri is really good as well. Into his feet, into his path, runs onto it, doesn't need to break his stride, cuts inside, side foot, past the goalkeeper in off the post. Again, classic goal, fantastic goal, composed finish. Again, another one you really enjoy to watch.
Oh, it was just a good goal, and just a good team goal. Just absolutely fantastic, just absolutely brilliant, and it's just so good to see we're starting to get a good bit of fluidity about us, something that we really kind of struggled with earlier in the season, and even kind of in the early days under Rule, we did look better, but we weren't really fully fluid. It just shows that there's a lot of stuff going on in the background where we are actually working on things. A good one here from Andrew. More chance of getting a good take from Mitch and getting Moore on a permanent deal. Well, you know what, 49ers Enterprises, if you're serious, get the checkbook out. 40 million, there we go. Let's just break all PSR records and stuff. There we go. But it was good to get a goal at that point. Ryan, we just can't really get these just little wee mistakes out of our system. 52 minutes in, we're fairly comfortable. And I think the consolation, it was a bit of an annoying one. But as you mentioned earlier, it was a fairly well-executed move considering. So can't take that away from them begrudgingly. But we fell asleep a little bit in possession. Chukwani gave it away, plays it off an attacker. Graham, who gathers, plays a one-touch pass to Paul Severa, who just hits it first time. There was about 2 touches from us losing the ball, and they were in, and it was a goal. Our mistakes are always punished, aren't they? 2 touches and a goal, Ryan. It's never the other way around, is it?
Yeah, so let's take it as a warning, right? I was getting a wee bit of pillars for giving Aberdeen credit in the comments earlier on, which is fine, right? Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But let's take it as a warning of what can happen if we're not right at it for 90 minutes and 100% concentration levels, because if we do that against Hearts, if we do that against Motherwell, if we do that against Celtic, we'll get punished. Okay, so it's all right doing that against Aberdeen when we're at home, we're 2-0 up and stuff. Let's get these silly mistakes out the way now, right? Because we don't want them anymore, right? We don't want them. Even Dundee United coming up in Falkirk, and the games are going to be after the split, so let's just get them out the way now. But the thing for me, that what happened on the back of it is that it didn't seem to faze the players. It just didn't. It didn't. We historically over the last kind of few years haven't reacted well to bad things happening to us. If we lose a goal, if we concede a penalty, if a VAR decision doesn't go our way, as that's usually the case, we find that our players seem to kind of lose their momentum. They put their heads down, they stop talking, they stop doing all the good things that they were doing prior to the incident there. But thankfully, it didn't happen. The boys managed to get their head down, they ground it out, and they managed to get 2, arguably 3 goals before it, which I think we'll go into. But for me, that was the kind of the takeaway from it. Let's get the mistakes out of the way. Let's just keep our heads going, and this is just a wee bump in the road. Let's just focus on what's happening at the end of the game for us.
Yeah, it's interesting, Craig. Are we seeing a different side of our mentality now? Obviously, mentality does get brought up, and kind of rightfully so. We base a lot on what we've seen in recent years. I mean, you've got kind of some key kind of leadership players still there. Then you think, is that a bit of muscle memory with certain things when it comes to mentality? But would you say our mentality is possibly shifting a little bit, Craig? To come back, it was 8 minutes after they scored, we kind of went up the other end and scored?
Yeah, potentially. I reckon there was probably a sit-down meeting reset after the cup game against Celtic. And you've seen it now. The St Mirren game, they come back from that cup defeat to see it a 1-0 win, a goal they scored fairly early on, and seeing it out. As you say, that poor decision making during the Aberdeen game to then score a third so quickly. I think there probably has been a little bit of a reset, probably a sit down, thinking about how you get through the rest of the season. The league's the only competition you need to worry about now. Put all your focus in on every game that you've got coming up, and get as many points as you can, because with the way things are going, you're not going to need a huge points tally to win the league. Goal difference might come into it because of how close everything is. So you're starting to build that strong goal difference as well with every goal you score. So there probably has been a think about the mentality of the team, and I think it's started to show over the past 2 games since the cup game.
Yeah, no, I do agree. I think there has been a kind of sit down. It does sound like that's been the case, because Danny Rule himself said that the players have kind of made essentially a promise now to give their all to try and win this league for the season. So obviously there's been some things set down, some things said. And you know what? So far, I know it's still early days from, that kind of cup exit to Celtic, only a couple of games after that. But it does seem to be a little bit of difference, Ryan, doesn't there? Right? I don't know if it's just we're starting to click a little bit more coincidentally, but it does seem to be a little bit of a difference, doesn't there?
Yeah, it's a shame that it's got to this for the difference to come, but it's maybe just there's a belief there. I don't know if they've just had talking to from influential characters within the building. I don't know if Derek Johnson's went in and gave them a halftime speech as much as he gave the fans a halftime speech as well. But for all this kind of thing, I promise that we're going to try. You should be doing it anyway. It's your job. You're at Rangers and you're getting paid a lot of money, and we're paying a lot. You're getting paid a lot of money to be out there, and we're paying a lot of money to be in there to watch you do it. So, but listen, whatever it takes mentality-wise, if they've got to sit down, if they've got to go away and have this training camp that they're talking about going on this week, if they feel as if they need a team bonding exercise, or to get to know each other that little bit more, whatever it's got to do. I don't care if they sit down and play Scrabble, they do 10Ks every single day, whatever it takes to get this league over the line, just get it done, please.
Yeah, no, I think we all share that same kind of sentiment, Ryan. Well said. 61 minutes in, so we've conceded. We've seen us with our heads go down. The Old Firm game was just a few weeks ago in the league where we saw Rangers capitulate. But a good goal from a set piece. It's another set piece goal. Tav with the ball from the free kick. It's flicked half clear by Malloy, and Raskin just takes it on the volley. 3-1. Instant impact after conceding. That was a good goal, wasn't it, Craig?
Aye, and as we've said, it was really much needed because you're under the cosh at 2-1. If they get another goal, you're 2 each, and then there's all sorts of alarm bells ringing. But to get it, another set piece, Tavernier's ball in was good. Aberdeen only half clear it, and Raskin with a unconventional connection with the ball, but it doesn't matter as long as it's legal, as long as you don't hit it with your hand, as long as you hit it with a part of your body you're allowed to, it doesn't matter. And again, another good finish that he's kind of taken on the fly. So it was a really good goal, really important goal, and I think set the tone for the rest of the game that Aberdeen were not gonna stage any sort of comeback.
Yeah. No, I do agree. And it was actually quite strange. Danny Rule didn't actually make any substitutes on the hour mark, which obviously you do see sometimes. Doesn't always do it, but that was interesting to see. Our first sub came 73 minutes in when Antman came on for Theo Asgard. Ryan, Antman, where's this Antman been? He played a lot better, didn't he? What do you reckon to him?
Aye, listen, maybe he's just needed that wee bit of a rest. He came in, and I think everyone was quite excited about the prospect from playing the left-hand side with an overlapping Romans next to him, but I think he picked up an injury, which there, and he's had a stuttering start to his Rangers career. But if he keeps coming on and applying himself as he did and getting bums off seats, then by all means, he could be the answer to the problem on the right-hand side of the park, because I don't see Asgard as the answer. We know Gassama's not going to be at his best out there. Scott Wilson has the jury very much out on him as well, and also with a considerable price tag hanging over his head. So, Ollie Antman, remember why we signed him in the first place. He so many assists in the Eredivisie. So, let's get this guy on the park. If he's there and he's applying himself and he's causing problems, go for it. Let's see what he can give.
See what he can give, definitely indeed. Craig, let's talk about Gassama actually. He was one of the kind of substitutes in the last kind of 10 minutes out on the left, where he should be, by the way. He's about 3 to 4 times the player on the left than he is on the right. He cuts in, gets a shot away, and it's a whisker wide. He hit it really well. He's so good at cutting in and kind of getting shots away. We've seen it early on in the season, especially in the Champions League qualifiers and other European matches. So Gassama, I think that project on the right's done now, isn't it, Craig?
Yeah. Look, he's shown why he should play on the left-hand side. I know that when Daniel was with him at Sheffield Wednesday, that was him on the left-hand side. He was their out ball because they were obviously with the situation they were in and the situation they're still in. They had him as an out ball, and when the defenders managed to get it clear, he was the one running after it. He's coming in off that left-hand side. He scored a good few goals for Wednesday doing that. So it's pretty clear that he is a left-sided player. He done, again, as you say, he done that thing he's good at. He cuts inside. He likes to get a shot on his right hand, on his right foot, and he's got one there. And it's not gone far wide. He did do really, really well, but it's not something that we haven't seen from him before. And I think he's also proven more and more how much more better he is as an impact player off the bench rather than a starter. I think when he gets bogged down 60, 70 minutes and he's given everything, and if he hasn't done anything spectacular, chances are it's not going to happen. Whereas if he comes on for half an hour, he's got half an hour up against a tired defence. Tired fullback, I think he's a lot more effective there. So, it was a good 10, 15 minutes, whatever it was. He got it was a good performance from him, a good shot there, and I think he's being used the way he should be being used, and that can only be a good thing.
That's the thing with Gassama. We've seen the best from him in recent times, especially you look at the Hearts game when he came on. He was just electric. He was really adding. He gives you another dimension when players are starting to tire. And it keeps that kind of repetitive attack going. So it's handy to have as an option as a super sub. Actually, Andy's saying that here as well. Coming on against tired legs, it's elite people up all day. Absolutely, it's what we need to be looking at, and I think tactically it's something that could really work for Gassama. So let's talk about the Miovski goal. Ryan, 92 minutes in, we intercept the ball, granted via it being hit at Barron's hands, which is at that point when it hits him, it's around his chest area. There's 20 seconds between that happening and us moving the ball around, with 2 to 3 Aberdeen players getting a touch on the ball. Gassama with the ball once again cuts in. He's getting his shirt pulled a little while he's getting into the box, gets into trouble a little bit. Ball kind of falls to Nadiri, who just backheels it. He knows exactly where Miovski is. And Miovski, that's the thing we used to see him do. He's very good at kind of running in, ghosting in, and he just absolutely buries it. A fantastic goal. A little bit of a muted celebration from Miovski. I think he didn't want to overdo that, especially where Aberdeen's his former club. However, the official is sent to the monitor. We was kind of struggling to see what had happened at that point. And it is ruled out for a handball from Connor Barron. Now, I'm okay with that. And I'll be honest, Ryan, I am okay with that. But the thing I'm not okay with is how many times have we seen similar situations where you had the Shanklin goal at Ibrox where he clearly handballs it to play it in front of him, even says and mouths it's handball. Goals awarded. You remember the Motherwell goal? I think it was this last season, the Motherwell goal where it was the assist person handballed it, played it out, came back, goal. And it wasn't classed as, it wasn't the goal scorer that put it into the net, so it's fine. What is going on here? Is this just far too subjective? And why is it subjective? Shouldn't it just be chopped off for being a handball? Well, why weren't the others? Ryan, can you answer the $1 million question?
So it's all about this phase of play nonsense that they come away with, and what in your opinion is the phase of play? So they decided that Shanklin's, even though Shanklin's handballed it, he's even admitted it himself in the post-match interview, he's laid it to Braga, received the ball back from Braga and stuck the ball into the back of the net. Apparently that's a different phase of play. Fine. Barron handballed it. It's a handball. The referee's missed it. Fine. The referee wasn't in a good position, didn't get a clear view of it. But the ball's then trickled about the edge of the box. It's then went out over to the side of the stadium where the Gordon Ramsay suite is, been crossed in, and Aberdeen players had a touch of the ball. It's had a wee ricocheted about in front of the 6-yard box, and Miovski's finished it. There's about 4 or 5 different phases of play in there right now. It's a handball. The referee's made an arse of it, but the play's gone. It's 20 seconds later. There was that other one a couple of seasons ago, you remember as well, that Tom Lawrence was adjudged to fill the Celtic player.
That was terrible. That's the box outside the box at the other end.
Yes, and we ran up the park and scored as well. I think it was Dessers that scored, now it was brought back, and it was let's find a way to rule out a Rangers goal. And let's be honest, 25% of goals that Rangers score are ruled out. So if we score a fourth, it's probably not going to count. They need to find a way to rule one out just by laws of average and what they're doing. But the way to fix this is rule out this whole subjective phase of play, right? Because it's too wishy-washy. Make it 5 seconds. Make it 5 seconds. And regardless of what happens, there's a 5-second rule that if there's a foul in the build-up to a goal, if it's 5 seconds or less later, it can get pulled back. So if you foul someone and slam the ball into the top corner, you fouled the guy to do it. There's a handball. It's wrong. So it has to be that, and maybe 5 seconds is too short. Maybe it has to be 10 seconds, but it can't be freaking 20 seconds, man. That is an eternity in a football park.
Yeah, we were told with that Tom Lawrence one, the kind of season after that, we won't see things like that again because that's, that's re-refereeing the game, Craig. We keep getting told about, VAR's not here to re-referee the game. As I say, I've got no problem ruling out Barron's handball for the reason the goal won't stand. I'm fine with that. If everyone else that handballs it in quicker build-ups have theirs Craig, what is going on?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm actually midway through writing an opinion piece on Scottish referees and VAR and how it's used. I don't understand how you can pull it back. I was in the stand. I was there at the game, and the screen flashes up, checking potential handball, and we've not got a clue what's going on. And I get the Premier Sports stream up on my phone, and I'm able to see what they're looking at. And the first thing that I say, and my dad says to me as well, who sat next to me, is that happened about 10 minutes ago. Why are they looking at that? And it's so frustrating because there's no consistency to it at all. The SFA are fumbling about in the dark with this whole thing. Their referees are not up to scratch to use the technology. I think they could be aided with more technology for things like offsides and things like that. I don't think there's enough camera angles in stadiums, but referees just aren't able to referee the game properly. There's loads of examples I've seen going to many other games, not including Rangers. It's not just Rangers. I mean, I know people have got stats to show that it maybe affects Rangers more than other teams, but there's so many things that go on during so many different games that just boggle your mind at how a referees came to the decision they've came to. And sometimes VAR will fix it. Sometimes VAR will make it worse. And I think that's telling, not about the technology, but the people who are using the technology.
I totally agree. I've had people say to me today, "Oh, you're saying the referees are cheating." I'm not saying the referees are cheating. I'm just looking for some consistency, because you can understand why some people go, well, you look at the breakdown of how many goals Rangers have ruled out by VAR and things like that. We are factually affected more than anyone else. And that is factual. That's not, people making assumptions, people saying this, they've seen one bad decision and they're saying, oh, the refs are this, that, and the other. You can argue we are refed almost to a different standard. How is this not happening to other teams as well? Now, don't get me wrong, we are primarily a more attacking team than some other teams in the league, so we're going to be in the box more. Maybe we're going to have more goals chopped off. I can understand that. But between us and the other mob, there's still a massive variance. And I know not everything's going to be split down the middle, Ryan, but it's every year now. Are the referees just that bad? Is it because they're part-time? Or do they just not understand the rules in high-pressure situations?
I think it's just ruining football in general, mate. And I am for VAR of a certain level, right? VAR was brought out when Thierry, the VAR was brought out to stop things happening, like Thierry Henry handballing the ball against Ireland, right? Frank Lampard's goal against Germany. Kieran Gibbs getting sent off for Arsenal, whereas Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain handballed the ball on the ball line. Graham Poll yellow carded a Croatian 3 times before he eventually sent him off. Things like that is what VAR is all about. VAR is not because a guy's face was offside. Stupid things like that's happening. I think they're going to be getting corner kicks involved at the World Cup. I think they're talking about. Am I right in saying that? They'll be, if there's a wrong, it's like, Jesus Christ. Like, if you're going to get to this level of don't even bother having a referee on the park. Just referee for there. It's madness what's going on with it. And like Craig's saying, where you're sitting in the stadium having paid good money to be there, and you've not got a bar's eye and brew of what's going on in the park. That's what ruins it for football fans. And you're scoring goals and you're just looking at it going, that was great, but how are they going to find a way to rule it out? And then eventually they stand there and they go, this, and don't talk to me, I'm superior to you, blah, blah, blah. And eventually they point to the centre circle against us and go, we're getting our goal. Like, bugger off. Honestly, it's ruining football.
It's more in than out. There we go. Right. We can talk about this all day, but I'll still never get my head round a lot of this. And the one thing with the World Cup and the corners, if it's automated and it's instant, fine, got no issue with it, because then there's going to be less mistakes, but there's going to be loads of teething problems. Do you want to bring that into a World Cup tournament? Maybe try it out somewhere else first. But there we go. That's just my opinion. Right, the last, James Tavernier, who actually had a pretty, fairly okay game, actually. Has a free kick 94 minutes in, and it's a Tav special, isn't it, Craig? He's literally kissed the crossbar into the back of the net. we haven't seen that a lot from Tav of late. He has ballooned quite a few free kicks, but he does like to score one of them, doesn't he?
And penalties as well.
Well, yeah, too soon.
Aye, look, it's something that he's done a lot over the past 10 years, however long he's been here. It's another sort of classic Tavernier free kick. Look, I've got many gripes with James Tavernier. Sorry, Doug. I know you're in the comments. I know you're probably hearing this, but I have a lot of gripes with James Tavernier's career at Rangers. But you have to give him some amount of respect for how long he's been there and how long he's been a first team regular. And I think that he's good at those free kick situations. There you go. He's good at those free kick in those free kick situations. Generally, he's scored a fair few important ones on top of the weekend that maybe wasn't quite as important, but still very good nonetheless.
You know what? I think that just gives him a bit of confidence, and we're seeing confidence from most areas of the team now. We're seeing a good defensive partnership with Dija and Fernandez, and you got to say that's got to be down to the coaching and all the stuff that's going on in the background, because there's so many players now that are starting to really perform, especially at a crunch point of the season. Obviously, we're going to wrap up now in a sec, but an absolute silence of the Lambs, a fantastic result. Ryan, you said last week on this pod, on the Monday pod, that we needed to gub someone. We needed to absolutely batter someone and put a kind of statement of intent out there. Was that statement of intent, Ryan?
Well, I think it's put the pressure on, because you've seen the result yesterday, and obviously that's what pressure does to some people. They underperform and they don't get the results they're wanting. We've got a right good chance, because we're going to play before everyone else next time. So we're going to kick off on the Saturday at 3:00, and everyone else that is around us is going to play on the Sunday. We've got an opportunity to go top of the league and start asking serious questions of other people that are trying to win this league. So let's go and do it again. Let's just go and do it again against Dundee United. I think you'll probably find they'll be a better team. But I think hopefully what you're saying about the belief in the training camp and the guys getting a rest and stuff like that, hopefully we just go out and just replicate exactly what we've done there. And we go into that, we leave Saturday night, top of the league. We shall not be moved.
Well, that'd be great. Craig, are you sure you're not at Celtic Park? I'm sure I saw Luke McCowan just walk behind you.
It's a shame he's English and he won't know who that is.
I don't think anybody knows who that is. Don't you worry, mate.
Otherwise, I'd have brought him in. He's a good lad. But no, definitely not at Celtic Park. This has been quite a difficult day, hence why I'm still here and not at home in my usual surroundings. But it was, as Ryan says, good statement win. We can go top of the league before anyone else plays on goal difference anyway. I mean, our goal difference is already the strongest out of the three as it stands. Dundee United, again, I agree with Ryan, will be probably a more difficult game than Aberdeen. I think they're in a better place right now than Aberdeen. So tough game, but Rangers at Ibrox, you still don't really expect anything other than 3 points and to put real pressure on Hearts, and definitely real pressure on Celtic, because by that point they will be they'll still be 5 behind because we'll go level with Hearts, but they'll be 5 behind 2 teams now rather than just one. So they'll have massive pressure, and I expect them to have that pressure. So very good for us.
Very good indeed. Well, that's just about all we got time for the Rangers Journal tonight. I was going to ask a few more questions, about our striking partnership and a few other things, because we scored basically goals from 2 midfielders, a winger and a right back yesterday. So, I guess there's another pod potential looking at our strike force, and is that going to potentially be something that comes back to bite us? But there'll be lots more coming from the Rangers Journal. It's of course the international week, so there might not be as many pods, but do look out, do like and subscribe to the Rangers Journal, turn your notifications on, because there will be some stuff coming this week from the fantastic guys here. And I'd just like to thank everyone in the comments. Thank you for for everything tonight. Craig, thank you for coming on live from Celtic Park. Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
I'm sorry, mate. We had to do it. All the best. If you're on the audio pod, by the way, guys, it's just that Craig's sitting in a room that's just full of green right now. So there we go. So if you're all confused on the audio pod, but there we go. Cheers for that, Craig. Ryan, reporting live from Ibrox. Thank you ever so much for your comments tonight. And good to see you as always, pal.
No problem at all. Just hope we're all smiling like this at the end of the season.
So do I. Marvin said it, keep believing. And I'm sure we all are starting to believe a little bit. Every night's a Rangers Journal night. Take care, everyone. See you soon.
Every night is the Rangers Journal night.